What's up, guys? Tom here with Team Golden Age, coming at you with something super interesting. This gigantic pile of cards. Who are you, and what did you do, and what did you play?
My name is Ryan Rodriguez. I played Rokkets, well, Dragon Link, but majority more Rokkets than normal. And I got top 8 at the Team Golden Age Invitational.
All right, show us what you got. How many cards is this pile right here?
Well, this is 52 cards. It looks bigger than it is because I double sleeved it because of the new thing. But it's 52.
Still hefty.
Yeah. Pretty good size. I had to use a Magic Commander deck box to hold everything.
All right, so show us what you got.
All right, we're gonna start off with the Rockets first. First up, we got 3 Tracers. That's basically what everybody plays in that, even non-Rocket players or Dragon Link players play it. I know a guy who was playing Orcus that was playing these somehow. And then next up we have the 1 Recharger. Everybody plays that along with the Tracer. Even the
good card.
Yeah, recycles a lot of stuff too. So next up are my actual favorites in the deck, or these next 2 Rockets are Silver Rocket. This one I usually end my board with it, and with this and the Unchained Abomination, allowing it to pop it and rip a card from my opponent's extra deck, and I get to see what they're playing. One instance came up when I was playing Drytron. He had 1 lone Union Carrier, and that kind of set him back a good day's work. Yes, sir. And then my other favorite that nobody really ever plays is Magna Rocket Dragon. I needed some. I tried playing more names for the Rockets because I had to go back to had to play the old school style Rocket combo with quad bore and everything. But this one's actually a pretty good card because if basically like you pop it like you do Silver Rocket Dragon, then his effect will allow you to send a monster card on the field to the graveyard. It doesn't target it, so it gets by a lot of big problem cards like Dragoon, which is just a built-in thing for the Rockets. Next up, I have 3 Absorrouter Dragons. Most people play 1, or 2 cards. I've decided to play 3 since I loaded up on the Rockets. If I see that in hand with the Rocket, it's just an easy quick start or quick combo starter because it's summon the Rocket and then special summon this out. Next up was 2 Noctivision Dragons. I played 2, thought about playing 3, but this was just like a last minute thing to stick to just 2 because that's what I've been playing. Next up is the Red Eyes package, I played the 1 Black Metal Dragon and 1 Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. Most people in regular Dragon Links play the 3 of these because it's usually how their combo starts out and everything, but this is usually my extender in the combo, so I usually summon this out with the LP and then use this to fetch that and keep continuing the combo. Next up I have the Chaos Dragon stuff, which would be like the 3 Star Leech. It's literally used in every Dragon Link deck as you can think of, because it's just this goes into a full combo right here by itself. And then you have the baby dragons, the baby Chaos Dragons, the white and the black dragon. Don't really need to say much on those because everybody uses those. And then we had the Omni Dragon Brotar, which I really didn't use as much, but there was some occasions where I would, if I had extra resources to give, I would just dump it to the graveyard and summon it back with Pissed Eater in the combo, which allowed me to go search this big guy right here, the Chaos Dragon, and rip a free card from their hand. And then a little spice that I played that I threw in at the last minute was the Chaos Creator.
Seemed like every time I looked over, you had this card on board. How good was it?
It was actually really good. Like there was times where I would pretty much burn through my whole hand, and this is literally the last card in there, and nobody was expecting me to just play this, and then I get a free summon and start recycling all my banished cards that I used from like either him or special summoning the Red Eyes Darkness Metal and all that. So there was that. This is a kind of a weird one, but I played Supreme King Dragon Darkworm. I would send it with like a Dragon Shrine. I only played a 1/1, which is kind of weird, but it's either I really didn't care to see it, or if I see it, it's okay. If I don't see it, it's okay. So it's literally just a 1 card starter basically. And then onto the hand traps, I decided to play 3 Ciphering Gammas on the driver. These worked out pretty good. I ran this over like other hand traps like Ash and what was the other ones at the time that everybody's been using. Well, mainly because this one's a light card, and so if even if I didn't use it, or even if I saw it later on in the game, I would just pitch it, and then I'd somehow work it into getting using my chaos cards because I can recycle those as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then a little more spice that I decided to put in that works into my combo very well is the Phantom Knights package.
Ooh, that is spice.
Yeah, we all know what these do, but basically the old Dragon Link combo would summon out a triple burst dragon and pop it with Quad Boral to special summon back the Rokkets from the graveyard or from your hand. Mm-hmm. Well, I figured they're both Link 3s, so instead of just making the triple burst dragon, I just go into Phantom Knight Rusty because it's generic 2 darks, and just pop him with it, and I get 2 free set Fog Blades with that.
Broken.
Let's see then. Onto the spells. 3 quick launches, pretty much self-explanatory. Everybody plays them, even that Orcus guy.
Best card in the deck.
Next up was 3 World Legacy Guard Dragons. I've seen people play it at 2. I've seen weird people play it at 1. I liked 3 because I just really wanted to see it. Because if I just open up 1 Rocket and that's pretty much full combo right there. Next up, some more spells. We had 3 Chaos Space. That's pretty much also full combo as well. You just go pitch it, go search your baby dragons. Next up was a questionable choice, but it worked out a lot. I ran 2 Boot Sector launches.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the time, I would usually open 1, and then so I would lose that search with the Striker Dragon later on. But I come to find out there was plenty of people that actually ashed my Striker Dragon, and so I would just still have this in hand, the second one in hand, and they just look at me when I play it like, really? It worked out pretty good. Next up was Dragon's Ravine. That's pretty much self-explanatory.
Mm-hmm.
I got the Dragoonity ashed a couple times, and that kind of shut down the combo. So I thought about maybe upping it to 1 or 2 more, but it could also be just left at 1. I played 1 Dragon Shrine. Everybody's I had a couple people tell me I should have played 3 of these with the Dark Worm, but like I said, it just adds as an extender, honestly, because I can send whatever and just bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
So I really don't care to see it, but if I do, it's just a bonus at that point. A card that I've been playing, but I didn't see at all in the tournament, was Pot of Avarice. There was previous tournaments that I played this in. I've been Nibiru'd, and then I just look at it, drop that card, and then they just like, what the heck?
And then you continue to combo afterwards.
Yeah, it just recycles everything, and I keep playing Yu-Gi-Oh. All right, this was the last minute thing before the tournament that I threw in there. I'm probably gonna stick to keeping these in there. Was 3 Cosmic Cyclones.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed this deck really kind of, if it goes second, there's not really much to get rid of back rows, so I kept this. And even one time when I played a Drytron player, he activated the ritual spell, and even though I went first and set up my board, I had that set, and I flipped it on the ritual spell to where he couldn't use it anymore after that because it banished it and he couldn't recycle anything.
Broken.
Kind of cut his combo down a little bit at that point. Next up, a card that I'm consider cutting right now because of the format, but is Infinite Impermanence. It was pretty good. I mean, it stopped a few plays, but the people just kept playing through it, so I was like, no big deal with that. But, I mean, I could cut that down for more consistency from what I've been talking with a couple people. And then the 2 Fog Blades that I would go search in the combo. Onto the extra deck. Played 3 Striker Dragons. There was actually one game where I went through all 3 of these in turn 1 because they just kept getting rid of it, negating effects and everything. And I was like,
you just need to keep going.
Just need to keep going somehow. Next up, we have the 2 cards, Pisty and Elpie.
Enough said.
Yeah, those are in every dragon deck. If you're not, I don't know what you're playing. Next up, the Dark Horse cards are Dillinger's Dragon and Quad Boral. Most people playing the original or the Dragon Links that got popular and stuff, nobody would play these cards, but this is literally a free soul charge in my combo. You pitch a card, target a monster on the field. If you target a link monster, you target a monster, destroy it. And if it's a link monster, you summon rockets with different names up to the link rating.
Broken.
So in my combo, I would use this to pop Rusty Bardish, and so I would get three different rocket dragons with different names for my hand or graveyard. So
seems really good.
And the best part is when you use Rusty and you don't open up the silent boots of the ancient cloak, and you get the silent boots to your hand. That's your free discard right there, and it works perfectly to keep going through. Delinger's Dragon just summons itself back when you summon rockets from anywhere, basically. So you use that to make your Rusty, and then so it's in the grave, and then so when you summon your rockets, that comes back with it, and you get like a free 4 monsters on board right there. Next up we have the Romulus. That's pretty much self-explanatory. Next up is the Hieratic Seal. I hardly make this unless I got like a super crazy ridiculous hand. Usually the rest of the stuff is enough, but this just adds like a little extra more because I usually end up with 1, 2, 3, usually 5 interruptions. Not straight up negates, but just interruptions, and this usually adds like a 6th one to where it pretty much takes care of the whole hand. I played another link too was IP Masquerena. It was just a generic.
Good card.
Yeah. And then link 3s, I played the Rusty Bardish. That was the spice right there for the day. Everybody was confused when I summoned that, and it kept going, and they're just like, what? And then the Venom or the Nightmare Unicorn, which you go into from IP Masquerena. I only made that once that day, but it came in handy. And the link 4s, I had Enchanted Abomination. That was the main killer right there. Usually used him and popped a bunch of field spells, a bunch of
just pops everything. Pretty
much on with the combo, pops everything, and it's just like whatever they need to stay on field, never stayed on field with that. Boral Sword, it's a rocket. That's all I need to say. It makes your rockets go off even more. And then the one synchro was the Borlo Savage Dragon.
Broken.
I guess onto the side deck. Some questionable calls that day, but started off with 3 Artifact Lancias. This legit was the only side deck card I saw that day. Probably because the deck was so big, but this when I saw it, it worked.
All right.
Played a Dino player, dropped that, or shotgun that against a Dino player, and he just picked up the game, or picked up the board. This was a nice little addition, was the Ally of Justice Psycho Reader. Adam talked me into playing it because it works against a bunch of stuff right now at this meta, because there's a bunch of light monsters, like you could hit in Drytron, you could hit just any of the monsters and it would set them back a little, especially the Benton. And then Eldritch players, you could hit the big dude when he hits the grave, so they can't recycle that back. And then even in Dogmatica, because they have, Nadir Servant that recycles it from graveyard too, you can hit their Dogmatica cards in the graveyard if they ever make it there.
And on top of it, for some reason, it's a tuner.
Yes, it's also a tuner. Don't have a level 5 to make this. Also, it's a dark monster, so it works with the theme of the dark monsters that I can use to banish later on for my chaos cards. Since it just sends itself to the grave. The one lone monster, Pankratops, never sided it in, but it's always there just in case. Just for back row hate and stuff. For more back row hate, because this deck doesn't really like to play through it much, going second. But 3 Twin Twisters and a Harpy's Feather Duster. Those are self-explanatory. Got rid of the stuff. And then some more spice that I kind of threw in the side deck that I sided in quite a bit for this tournament, but I didn't really see it or never saw it, was 2-dimensional prisons, or 2-dimensional barriers, my bad. And 2 Massive Restrict. If I would have ever seen those against the Drytrons, I would have just called it a day.
Yeah, I think Drytron just kind of scoops the Mask of Restrict.
Yeah, because they have to tribute everything.
So what's like your typical end board with this deck?
Here, let me draw it out for you real quick.
Because I know it's usually pretty dang good what you've ended on.
This can be either one of these two right here, depending on the combo. None of those are left. And the 2 set Fog Blades just randomly wherever. And then let's see, where's that rocket at? Silver rocket. Alright, so the main idea is when you get silver rocket here, this is usually the minimum inboard. I can probably have a couple other monsters on field, but this is usually it. What you do in your in phase is you use Unchained to pop your silver rocket dragon, and when you do that, or not really pop it, you target it and then it pops itself, and then you special out you rip a card from their extra deck, which was really good in most cases, except for that one Dino player. And then you special summon out your Rocket Tracer because it destroyed itself. And then during your opponent's turn, Rocket Tracer, you can use him to pop whatever's on the board. Like if you had Romulus, you can pop it. You can pop your Rusty. But once he pops, he will trigger him to destroy another card to your opponent. You can either be your opponent controls or your card if you somehow need to pop your own stuff. Like in this case, what I would do if I knew what they were playing after popping with silver, I would also probably swap out with the Magna Rocket. Like if I saw they had the Dragoonity package, or they played multiple big cards like that, I could do that. And then once they have a problem card hit the board that I can't really get rid of, like normal popping means, I just send this to the grave instead. And then that's usually it. And then,
but you end on Savage Negates, you end on 2 Fog Blades, Spheres for a bounce, and then Unchained Abomination likes to pop everything on the board.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
What I find was kind of cool is like I got all my monsters negated one time, but I still had the Fog Blades to fall back on, which still kind of cut through their turn. They built a small board, broke through a couple of things, but they weren't able to break through everything, which allowed me to recover and fight back still at the end of it. And
then you just make Boral Sword and
Boral Sword game.
All right, that's super cool. Got any shout outs?
First, I want to give a shout out to the big man upstairs because I almost didn't make it to the tournament that day. Yeah. Next, shout out to Team Golden Age for the invitation. I want to give a shout out to Croc Cards for for hooking me up with some of the cards that I needed for this deck. And I'm going to give a shout out to Adam, Tom, and David, and Cam and Leo, and everybody else who actually believed in me when I didn't think I had a chance.
Hey, this deck's super cool, and it did super well at this event, and maybe some more people will play it.
And it did a whole lot better than I expected to, but I think people were expecting majority of the new meta. People were probably thinking this deck was dead once Link Cross got hit.
But you never played Link Cross in this deck from what I've seen. This isn't your average Dragon Link deck.
Oh yeah, I saw this. The older version was Shinping, that guy, and I kind of just like, I kind of like that version because of the whole quad war and all that stuff, and I kind of just kept building off of it, and then just kept it this way. And when everybody's like, the Link Cross is the way to go, I kept playing through it, and nobody kind of expected half of what these cards did too.
But
and heck, even Quad Whirl, you can pop. It doesn't say you have to pop your cards. I made this one time during an opponent's against going second, and I popped an opponent's card with it, Link monster, and I special summoned my own Rockets back while killing their monster. So
that's super dope.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe for more.